All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the music and audio production workshop number 2. And today we are going to be learning how to use a digital audio workstation, otherwise known as a DAW or a DAW, to make music. And so we're going to learn how to use the basic functions of a DAW to make that short piece of music that you guys are doing for your creative challenge. And today I'll be demonstrating on a program called Soundtrap, which I think most of us are using, but the skills that I'm teaching you guys today can be utilized in any DAW that you're using. The stuff that we're going to really cover today are the basics of the basics, like how to use the transport, exploring the track header, working within the timeline, and then how to save and export your stuff. I'm going to show you guys how to use the loops tab to find the instruments that you want. And then lastly, I'm going to be covering arranging and song structure. So you guys are taking all those loops that you found and then arranging them into a piece of music. So let's get into it. Going to switch screens into a project that some of you guys might be familiar with. This is the one that I demonstrated in the first workshop. This is a song that I made using the same stuff that you guys will have access to. This was all made with loops. And we can check it out for just a second. We don't have to listen to the whole thing. Here we go. All right, so you guys might have noticed that I am using down here at the bottom these little buttons. This whole area down here is what we call the transport. These are super important functions that allow us to navigate and control what we're listening to and how we're moving through this stuff. So this is going to look very, very similar to a transport that you've probably used on your phone or on a device where you listen to music like Spotify or something. We have right in the middle, this triangle, this is play. And then while it's playing, it turns into the pause button. You know, play and pause, pretty straightforward. To the left and the right, these are very similar to fast forward buttons, except in a DAW, it doesn't fast forward like what you would think. It actually jumps from one measure to the next. Each of these numbers represent a measure or a bar. And every time you click it, it will jump from one bar to the next. And you can go back and forth. Very helpful for when you're trying to go back and check out a piece of music, and instead of bringing your mouse all the way up here, grabbing what's called the playhead and dragging it around, you can kind of just jump back a little bit using these little buttons in the transport. Now, this button right here, it's kind of like this, but it's got a line next to it, that triangle with the line. This will bring you back to the very beginning. Super helpful. If you got a long song, you're way down here, instead of dragging the playhead all the way back to the beginning, you can just hit that, takes you back to the beginning. It is also the stop button. So if we're listening to music, while it's playing, it is stop. Once we have it stopped, it turns into the back to the beginning button. Right next to it, this little red dot here, this is our record button. Something we're probably not going to use much in this project unless you are recording yourself singing or if you play an instrument. Something that's not really required in this challenge, but for those of you that are singers or musicians and you guys want to record yourself with, with this thing and you're inspired to add to what the challenge is, this is where you would do that, the record button. Next to it here, this is where it tells us where we are in time. It's kind of like our clock here, counting off in seconds, 5, 6, 7. Many people, when they first start out, think that up here, where we have these numbers, is representing time. And it's not. Like I said earlier, these are actually representing musical bars or measures. And the way we can tell where we're at in time is down here. So say if I take the playhead and I go to the very end of the song, we can see that it is 2 minutes and 32 seconds long. Helpful for when you are trying to get a feel for how long your song is playing, and also a time requirement is part of this challenge. So you're going to want to keep an eye on that. Next to that is your master volume. You may have noticed I turned it down so I can talk over this. This is going to turn down everything. There are other volume knobs within here that turn down individual parts, but this is going to control the volume of the entire project, right? Probably going to have it pretty low for the sake of this workshop, so I can communicate information without having to yell over this thing. Now, this is the transport here. I do want to briefly cover this stuff to the right because it's important. Primarily this right here, this little number 85, this is the tempo of the song. This is referring to speed, how fast the tempo is. You can change the tempo of your song depending on what kind of vibe you're going for. Right now I'm at 85, which isn't super slow, but it's by no means fast. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If I wanted to make it faster, I could click on this number. Let's just bump it up by 10. Let's go to 95. Yes, I will adjust all this stuff to make it 95 BPMs now. Now you can hear it's the same exact song, but now my tempo is at 95 BPMs, which stands for beats per minute. Here, different vibe now. Faster, too fast in my opinion. Because the tempo has made everything play faster. The song is not going to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds anymore. It's only coming in at it took about 15 seconds off of my time because now everything is playing faster. I prefer it at 85. I'm going to come up here to my undo button and go back to 85. These undo buttons, undo and redo, very, very helpful. Sometimes we get in here, we click on something, we make a mistake, something weird happens. We don't know what happened. We don't know how to fix it. Undo is going to be your best friend. Click undo. You can keep hitting undo to get back to where it feels like, okay, this is where I wanted to have it. Undo and then redo. You go too far back, you can always redo. But yeah, that's it. I think this is really important. The key of the song, you're not really gonna have to worry about because we're using loops, and any DAW, whatever loop like you start with, it's gonna keep it within that key. You're not gonna have to worry about key signatures and stuff too much. Metronome, you're really gonna have to worry about that if you are recording something sort of onto a blank canvas and you need a metronome to keep time for you. Again, not a part of this challenge, but the tempo is important. And then up here, just briefly going over those undo, redo buttons up here. Very, very helpful. But that pretty much covers our transport section of this. And actually, I'm going to cover one more thing. It's not really part of the transport, but it is down here in our functions. These zoom in and out buttons, very, very helpful. You know, you can zoom all the way out to see the song, but if you really want to get in and make some really small changes, you know, like maybe I don't want this to last that long, I want to shorten it. Really hard to do that when I'm zoomed really far out, but I can zoom in and make really small, subtle changes that you can only do zooming in and out. Now, these aren't the only ways to do that. We have our zoom buttons here, but if you have a mouse pad on your, you know, computer or laptop, you can zoom in or zoom out the same way you would on your phone on your mouse pad, which tends to be easier. But just so you know, zoom in and out tools right down here. Okay, now that we have a grasp of our transport, all the different buttons, we got our clock here, master volume, tempo, zoom in and out, undo, redo. Let's get into our tracks. So every one of these different instruments that we see here, kind of laid out, going from left to right, all stacked on top of each other, they belong to a track. And the track header are these things right here. They have names. They tell us what they are. This is Atlantis bad beat. It's a full beat. That's why it's in parentheses. And then we have a bunch of these little buttons here and knobs and things that we can use to adjust and, you know, make things sound louder or softer. So let's get into this stuff now. Starting with the first one. If I hover over it, it will tell me what it is. This is mute. It's like a picture of a speaker with an X next to it. If I want to hear this song without this track, and I don't want to delete it, right? I just want to mute it. I just muted my drum beat. Hear everything else except for the track that's muted. I can mute some of my other stuff. This comes in really handy once you start getting all of your loops in there, and then you're like, something sounds weird. I don't know what it is. You start muting things and seeing like, oh, it was that, because once I mute it, that weird thing went away. Or you're just not sure if this, you know, you find something, you put it into your song. I don't really know if it's really adding anything. Does it make it better? I don't really know. Go back and forth, listen to it with it in there, and then you can mute it, listen back. Mute's very helpful when you are you know, trying to decide where to go, if it works or not. The one next to it is the exact opposite of mute. This button is called solo, and it will mute everything else except for that track. So let's see, let's start here with the chorus again. And I can solo one of these things. You can really hear exactly what it's doing. Now I can solo multiple things, so I can hear these three together. Those are really like the big parts. And as soon as I unsolo, everything comes back. The same way I soloed multiple tracks, you can also do that with the mute button, right? You can mute, you know, the drums, mute the bass. All right, mute and solo. The next one is our volume button. or our volume knob rather in this thing. And it does exactly what a volume knob and anything else does. It turns the volume up or it turns it down. Within Soundtrap, it looks like a knob. And a lot of my students get confused because they sit there and they try to click and turn the knob around. And that's not actually how it works in Soundtrap. If you want to turn it up, click and hold, and then just bring your mouse straight up and it will turn the knob up. And then the opposite, bring it straight down and it will turn the knob down. Don't try to turn the knob with your mouse. You're just going to kind of go in circles like that. If you're on pretty much any other DAW, it's usually represented as a fader, more like the master volume, which is, a little more straightforward. I think they use the knob to kind of save space. And then that's pretty much it. These next couple of things, probably not going to get into it with this challenge. This is called automation. And this is how you tell it, like, if you want the volume at a certain volume here, but then you want it to go down automatically, you can program it to do that. It's a little advanced for this, and I don't think we need to get into it. And then the R, this would allow your track to be recorded onto, and unless you're recording yourself singing or playing an instrument, really not going to use this button either. So mute, solo, and volume are really the three things that you're going to want to be adjusting. There's also these three little dots with each track. These are the settings. If you click on this, you get really the top three are kind of the ones that you may want to mess with. You can rename it so that, instead of it saying Atlantis driving guitar, you could just rename it guitar. Right? That way you don't get confused. There's also duplicate track, which comes in handy if you really want it to happen sort of twice to make it even bigger. I could duplicate this track and now I have the exact same thing twice, which is going to make it louder because now it's both of them playing at the same time. And there are other uses for that. Like maybe I want the guitar really loud in the verse on this one, but then I want the exact same guitar in the second verse, not as loud. So I could take my duplicate and turn the volume down on this one to get sort of a different feel. That's another way of taking advantage of the duplicate. I don't want that though, so I'm going to undo until I get back to where I want it. And then the last one is delete track. As you're creating your song, you're going to be adding things from the loops tab, deciding you don't want it and deleting it. And even though you delete like a region, which all you do is click on it and hit backspace on your keyboard, it still leaves the track. And if you have too many empty tracks, it just gets messy. So you may be coming in here and deleting the track. I actually want that track with that region on there. So again, I'm going to undo, get all that stuff back. And that covers the track header. We got mute, solo, volume, and then our settings where we can rename, duplicate, or delete. We're not going to be doing any freezing. No need for importing or exporting. If you want to, you can change the color. I guess the color's down here. That's sort of just a preference. Now on to the real important stuff, which is creating your song using the loops tab. So I'm going to first save this because I'm going to want it later. And we're going to get into all the saving and all that stuff in a second. But the save button is right here. I'm going to come to File and I'm going to go to a new blank project to show you guys how to use the loops tab and find what you're looking for and start to arrange things in the way that a song would typically be arranged. This button right here, it's got the little eighth note on it, 2 eighth notes. This is our loops tab. It'll pull open this tab. It has a search bar. We have some like preset buttons that we can click to help us find things. And then all of the loops are located in here. Thousands and thousands and thousands of loops. way too many for anyone to go through them all and try to find what they like trying to go through all of them. So we use the search bar to kind of hone in on, certain things that we're looking for. I think with any song, there's really three main elements, and this isn't completely universal, but for the most part, every song is going to have something that's playing a beat, something that's providing bass, and then something that's giving us melody. If we can get those three things in our song and then build from there, we're in a good place. I usually like to start with my beat. So right away, instead of typing in beat, I see there's a little button right here that says beat. So I can click on that, and it's going to show me all the beats that are available to me. So many. Like I said, I can't listen to these all to find the exact perfect one, but I can narrow the search down a little bit more. So part of your challenge is figuring out, before you even get here, what kind of song you want to make. For this, I'm going to say, let's make a trap song, hip hop trap kind of song. So I see hip hop here, but even further, I'm going to try and make some trap. I don't do a lot of trap. I would like to do more. So I am going to type in the word trap. And now it's going to give me much less to work with, because these are all the beats that it has that are specific to trap music. And from here, I can start sampling by hitting the play button and see what they got. Right, and I can go through all of these. This isn't that much. It's still a lot. That would take me a minute to go through all of them. But for the sake of this, I kind of liked this second one here. Cool. I like this one. I want to make it a part of my project. Two ways I can make that happen. Well, three, I guess. I can double click it. And now it's in what is called my timeline. This is where everything happens. Once we get into our timeline, it's ours to mess with. Undo. There's another way. I can click and drag it in. This is helpful. Say I don't want to start right in the beginning. I want it to start right here. And as you start adding more stuff, you might not want everything to start right in the beginning, so you can drag it into where you want it. Third way is there's a little plus button. It's the same thing as double clicking or dragging it in. You hit plus. It's going to add it in wherever your playhead is at. So I got my beat. What I'm doing right now is I am looping it. Hover over the top right corner, and it will repeat itself over and over again. This is the entire purpose of what these are. They're loops. They're little pre-recorded pieces of music that are designed to repeat themselves over and over and over again. Really helpful for us. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit when we get to the arranging. Right now, we're just finding loops. I got my beat. Now I need something that provides bass. I know I'm making a trap song, so I'm going to leave trap, but I'm going to erase beats. Maybe I'll come over here and I'm going to type in, well, maybe I don't. I'm going to click on bass. So I'm going to get trap bass. And now I can listen to the different bass pieces that they have here. Kind of cool. Super heavy, low. If you are not wearing headphones while you're watching this workshop, I recommend putting them on now. If you're listening to this out of your computer speakers, you might not even be able to hear this bass. Bass, especially these sound like 808s, are at such a low frequency that small speakers like on your laptop speakers or computer speakers aren't going to be able to handle this very well. And they might not even come through. Let's see. Not a whole lot of trap bass. Kind of want something a little more chill than this. That's super low even for my, you know what? Let's try this one. So I double clicked it. Now it's in my timeline. Now I can hear my beat and my bass play together. I love it. Let's keep that. Okay. Got my beat, I got my bass. Let's get something that plays melody. Now, when we're looking for something that plays melody, we're really just looking for any other instrument other than beats and bass. Because pretty much every other instrument is going to be able to play a melody, like guitar or piano or synth, strings, horns like saxophones and stuff, or flutes. All that stuff is capable of playing melody. I think I'm going to try synth and see what we get. Trap synth. Interesting. That's kind of cool. There are a lot of synths to go through. Wow. Let's see. Epic. Always catches my eye. There's a lot in there that sounded like there's a bass, but let's try it. Let's see what it sounds like. Here we go. Okay, I'm feeling that. Now, I could definitely look around and see if I could find other things, but this is for the workshop, just demonstrating. But let's take this for a second. Actually, no, let's do one more thing. Let's see what else pops up. This is a good thing too. So top picks for this project. Soundtrap, as soon as you start getting some stuff in here, it will start analyzing and give you its opinion, I guess, of what it thinks would go really, really well with what you have. Now, sometimes there's some awesome stuff in here. Soundtrap really figured it out and knows exactly what to recommend. And other times it's garbage. It's you're like, what are you listening to? This does not fit the song at all. But I think it's always good to kind of check these out because it does a good job most of the time, and it can eliminate a lot of time spent scrolling and trying to find things. So I'm curious, and I want to see if maybe we could add one more thing to this. Oh, that's some pop synth. Not what I'm going for with the trap song. Okay, that's cool. I might use that. That's also kind of cool. I could actually see that working too. These two I'm interested in. Let's try this one just to see. I like it. I don't love it. Let's try this other one. Just the wrong one. Let's go undo. Undo. I like that one, and I liked that one. Let's try this one. Nope, you know what? I like the other one better. Undo. Let's get that trap raise. Yeah. Okay. I got some stuff to work with here. You saw how I was typing stuff in to find what I needed. You can also type in like trap synth. You can use adjectives like dark, and it will pull up things that it thinks that it sounds like dark. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, but no, we already got it. I'm not going to go too crazy here. You can type in adjectives to help, like, whatever you're feeling, you know, like dark, scary, sad, happy. You can use those kind of words. It will help identify things. You can also type in stuff like, I want a synth that sounds like something Kanye would use. You can type in artists' names and look, showing loops that sound like the artist Kanye West. And I know, I'm sorry, he's probably not the best example to use right now, but you can type in any artist. It will, for the most part, if they're you know, pretty popular, it will show you stuff that sounds like their stuff, which is awesome. Really helps identify things without scrolling over and over, trying things out. Like, no. Okay, so I'm done with the loops tab for now. I'm going to click on it. It's going to go away. And now we're going to get into the arranging. So most songs have all these different instruments and all these different sounds in them. They don't all just start right away and just play all the way through the song, right? There's a bit of a flow. This flow is accomplished by the song structure or the arrangement of the song and how it flows low and then it gets bigger. These are called dynamics. So we're going to create some dynamics by arranging this into a bit of a song structure. So I'm thinking maybe I can highlight these three just by clicking, dragging to highlight them, and I can just click and move them, drag them out of the way. I think it'd be cool if the song started with just the beat. And I can already tell I want it to come in. Here, I'll zoom in so we can really see. I want it to come in like we can see every time it repeats, right? It kind of dips down and then it starts a new one. And it's just playing the same thing over and over again. But I want it to play 2 full times before the bass comes in. And then I'm thinking just drum and bass for a minute. So let's hear that. Yeah, and then I'm even thinking this doesn't come until later. So I'm going to loop my drum beat out a little bit. And so I'm kind of staggering things. I'm creating buildup, right? Starting with just the drums, and the bass drops in. And then we have our epic chill synth coming in. Let's try it now. And I know I'm dragging when I should be using the transport. Just go back to the beginning. actually have an idea. I think it'd be cool if both of these started together, drum and this epic synth, and then the bass dropped in. This comes in a little later, and it does feel loud. So I'm going to come in. I don't want this too loud, right? It kind of comes in and takes over everything. I'm going to come over to my volume, and I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Okay, here we go. Let's see if this. Maybe right there, where this. A little loud. Okay, so what we have now is kind of like we got an intro right here, and now we have an A section or a verse, right? If you have vocals on your song, this is probably where the vocals are going to kick in. Next, I would create a B section or a chorus using pretty much the same principles that I just did, but creating something different. I still want it to sound like it's in the same song. I don't want to go crazy, like, you know, left field and abandon this whole vibe, but I do want to change some stuff. I want it really to probably pick up a little bit. A chorus is generally where the dynamics lift and it gets a little bit bigger, if not a lot bit bigger. So I'm going to go down the list again. Let's go back to our beats. I'm going to type in trap. I got beats here, and I can see too what I used. Beat, bring it 1. And I can see right here, there's bring it 2. That's probably going to sound like the same beat, but it's going to be a different pattern. So let's beat 1, what we're using now. Beat 2. Which is perfect because I want to bring things up, and this one's a lot more active. I'm going to use it. I'm going to click and drag and bring it right in, right after my my A section or my verse. So it'll go from this beat right into this beat, and it should sound pretty good because they are both from the same cat. They're both beat bring it, right? This is 1, this is 2. I might be able to follow that same sort of pattern throughout this. So this is bass bullet 10. Let's type in bass bullet. And that's the one I'm using now. See if we could find a different one from, we've got a lot to choose from. They're all going to sound like the same instrument, just playing a different bass line. That's pretty cool, but a little too busy. That one. It's between this one or let's try 9. I'm going to bring it in right after my my other bass. Prism Epic Chill. I might want to keep that. Let's see. Let's just see what this vibe is. You can hear it going in from one part to another. Yeah, maybe I'll keep this going. Let's see. We get like that sort of same kind of chord progression-y thing, but we'll change this. We'll get a different synth, trappy synth thing to come in here. So let's type in Soundtrap synth one more time. Let's see what it gives us. Not bad. That's kind of cool. Let's see what else. See, I typed in dark earlier and found some cool stuff. Let's type in dark. Ooh. That's kind of interesting. Oh, I double clicked it. It's all right. I can drag it over here. See what happens on this. It's kind of cool. I wonder what would happen if I just kept this going too. If it would sound too similar, or if it would change enough. I'm actually digging that. I'm not 100% on keeping this, but for the sake of what it is right now, I like it. So I have an intro, a verse, and a chorus. Now, my job is pretty easy because the way a song structure works is usually it goes back to a verse again. And I don't have to create a new one. I already have one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to position my playhead right here, and I'm going to highlight everything. A lot of this stuff is like, these two are new, this is new, but this isn't, these two things. So I want to cut these right here. So I highlight these two. I'm going to come over here to edit, split region. Now they will play right through, no problem. That just doesn't affect it. It just allows me to grab these individually and move them without messing with this. And then, yeah, let's just take this whole thing. I'm going to highlight all this. Come over here, copy. I want to highlight this top track because I want everything to paste from the top down. I'm going to move my playhead over here. Oops. Go to edit, paste. And my song essentially starts over. I don't think I want it to start right back with the intro. So let's move, whoops. Just click on this one. Let's get the bass coming right back in again. And then maybe we'll have this come in right here. And we'll have another verse kind of long here. And then I can copy all of my chorus, edit, copy, come over here, place my playhead. Remember, I want it to paste from the top track down, edit, paste. Now, I have an intro, a verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Let's check it out. I don't know if we'll listen to the whole thing, but let's check it out. transition could probably use some work, but for the sake of this workshop, this is how we do it. We move things around. We could probably add something maybe right here. Now, the last thing that I want to show you, remember, you're going to want to name it. I'm going to name it Trent's Trap. Save it. And then when I'm done and I want to export it, so I have it like as an MP3 that I can turn in, share to people, I'm going to come to File, Export project to MP3. That's going to give me a file that I can then use, put on YouTube, put on social media, share with my friends, upload to Spotify, get super famous, or at the very least, you can turn it in for this challenge. That's it, guys. I hope this was informative. I hope you guys learned a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys at the next challenge. Bye.